PLAG gapping up on continuation of momentum. If you look at the daily, I'm just going to draw it out and then we'll actually, you can kind of see the ascending wedge on the stock itself that is forming. The big resistance point, obviously, we got yesterday's highs, and if that breaks, you got room to this 951 area. So if you look at the stock, what you want to see is if it's unable to break that 8 area, it's going to pull back towards that 620. So you can short it down to that area. If it holds this area, I would think it's going to push back towards the 8. This is a bullish setup in terms of a technical setup. If it breaks the 8, it's got room to 951. So watch that spot to the upside. Basically, that's your pivot point. Unable to break that, you pull back to 620. If it is able to break this, you push towards that 950 mark. There's a lot of, decent little room to the upside. I think it can squeeze, so I'm watching it around the, basically there's a, this kind of pre-market range, $7 area to maybe, if that holds, grab some long and then look for the retest of the $8 mark. So PLAGBA, I'll just screenshot that and we'll go through that later. Let's go through Tesla, continuation of momentum ahead of earnings and that JPM price target. So you can see all these levels previously. 395.28, that's your support right now. Unable to hold this pre-market trend, you're going to pull back towards there. It's also the 50 EMA intraday. Go to the daily, take a look at the daily. A couple areas I'm looking at are the, looking at the 306. Why is it doing that? Where are you? 306. Oh, 304.90. And then also the 306 spot, which is right up here. $306, $307. And if that breaks, obviously, you got a lot of resistance on Tesla around the 310s. But essentially, this is what we're looking at here. We can delete these. I'm going to keep these weekly ranges up because they are important. But basically, Tesla unable to hold the pre-market uptrend. It's going to fall back towards 395. Look for basing on this area for continuation back up. This is your resistance right now, that 305 area, essentially. If it's able to get through 305, you've got a ton of resistance, 307 and then 309. So look for look for topping around that area and a pullback within this range. Does Tesla break out today of that range? Not sure. I think you will see some profit taking. I mean, seriously, it's up 50 points in a day or 2 days before earnings. If you're up that much, you're probably going to take some profits into oh yeah, it's JMP. I probably wrote it out wrong. JMP, whoops, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. JMP. That's Tesla. Let's go through the next one. APH. I like this chart on the daily. I think there's an opportunity here. It's been absolutely smashed into earnings. So what am I looking for on this one? They beat and they raised guidance, which obviously we know is bullish. This one is already gapping up to around that 87 spot. If you can get it on a pullback towards this 85.50, I think that's a great spot to grab some long on basing. Look for a continuation push towards that 88. You break that 88 area, probably gets around 89.21, maybe a little bit higher today. I love this chart, extremely technical in terms of the ranges. Very beaten down. I think there's an opportunity there. So I'm looking for a pullback towards that 85.50. It's very light volume in the pre-market. Look for basing, and then we look for continuation on that stock. Very nice chart, in my opinion. I'm leaning to obviously bullish on the stock. So if we can grab it on a pullback and basing, I think that's a fantastic way to go for it. Look at the options on it as well. Maybe makes sense to grab or look at the 90s either next week or this week. STM and IRBT. So STM, beat, but the guidance that they issued was lower than expected. So what that means is obviously we can see a pullback on the stock. I'm looking for a little bit of a bounce on this thing. Has been beaten down towards this